The rain poured down in relentless sheets, turning the dirt road into a muddy river. Jake tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his old pickup truck sputtering as it struggled through the storm. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, sat in the back seat, clutching her stuffed bunny and humming softly to herself. The windshield wipers fought a losing battle against the downpour, and Jake's heart sank as he realized they were lost. Again. "Daddy, are we almost there?" Lily's voice was small, tinged with exhaustion. Jake forced a smile, glancing at her in the rearview mirror. Her blonde hair was tangled, and her eyes were heavy with sleep. They'd been driving for hours, searching for a place to stay after their car broke down in the middle of nowhere. Jake's savings were dwindling, and the weight of being a single dad, struggling to make ends meet, felt heavier than ever. "Almost, sweetheart," he lied, his voice cracking. He couldn't let her see how scared he was. Not again. Just as hope seemed to fade, a flicker of light appeared in the distance. Jake squinted through the rain, his heart leaping as he spotted a weathered barn and a small farmhouse. The property looked old, the barn leaning slightly to one side, its roof sagging under the weight of the storm. But it was shelter. And right now, that was all Jake cared about. He pulled into the driveway, the tires crunching over gravel. Before he could even step out of the truck, the front door of the farmhouse swung open, and a woman emerged, holding a flashlight. She was in her late 30s, her hair tied back in a loose braid, her face streaked with dirt. She wore a flannel shirt and jeans, and her boots splashed through the puddles as she approached. "You lost?" she called out, her voice firm but not unkind. Jake stepped out into the rain, shielding his face with his hand. "Yeah, we are. My daughter and we've been driving for hours. Our car broke down a few miles back, and we've been trying to find help. Do you think we could stay here for the night? Just until the storm passes?" The woman studied him for a moment, her gaze flickering to Lily, who peered out from the back seat with wide, curious eyes. Finally, she nodded. "Name's Clara. Come on in. You can't stay out in this mess." Relief flooded through Jake as he helped Lily out of the truck, wrapping his jacket around her to shield her from the rain. Clara led them into the farmhouse, where the warmth of a crackling fire greeted them. The house was cozy but cluttered, with stacks of books and tools scattered across the furniture. Clara gestured to the couch, and Jake sat down, holding Lily close. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with gratitude. "I don't know what we would have done if you hadn't let us in." Clara shrugged, handing him a towel. "It's no trouble. You're not the first lost soul to stumble onto this farm. Probably won't be the last." As the storm raged outside, Jake and Clara talked. He learned that she lived alone, running the farm by herself. The barn, she explained, had been damaged in the storm, and she'd been trying to repair it on her own. Jake, who had worked construction before Lily was born, offered to help. "I can't pay you," Clara said bluntly. "But if you're willing to lend a hand, I'd appreciate it." Jake nodded. "I don't need payment. You've already done more than enough for us." The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving the farm bathed in golden sunlight. Jake and Clara set to work on the barn, their hands calloused and their shirts soaked with sweat. Lily played nearby, chasing butterflies and singing to herself. As the days turned into weeks, Jake found himself growing attached to the farm, and to Clara. She was tough and independent, but there was a vulnerability in her eyes that mirrored his own. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Clara turned to him. "You've done more for me than you realize," she said softly. "This farm, it's been in my family for generations. But it's too much for one person to handle. I've been thinking about selling it." Jake's heart sank. "Selling it? But this place, it's your home." Clara smiled, a bittersweet expression on her face. "It is. But sometimes, you have to let go of the past to make room for the future. She paused, her gaze steady. I've been thinking, maybe you and Lily could stay. Help me run the place. It's a big job, but I think you're up for it. Jake stared at her, stunned. You're serious? Clara nodded. I've seen how hard you work. And Lily, she's a sweet kid. This farm could be a fresh start for all of us. Tears welled in Jake's eyes as he realized the magnitude of her offer. For the first time in years, he felt a glimmer of hope, a sense of belonging. I don't know what to say, he whispered. Clara reached out, squeezing his hand. Say yes. As the weeks turned into months, Jake and Clara worked side by side, transforming the farm into something beautiful. The barn was repaired, the fields were thriving, and Lily had a place to call home. It wasn't until much later that Jake learned the truth. Clara wasn't just a farmer. She owned thousands of acres of farmland, a legacy passed down through generations. But to Jake, it didn't matter. What mattered was the family they had built together, a family forged through struggle, kindness, and the unshakable belief that even in the darkest storms, there was always a light waiting to guide you home. Life on the farm wasn't without its challenges. One day, a representative from a large agricultural corporation showed up at Clara's doorstep. They offered her an enormous sum of money to buy her land, intending to turn it into a commercial development. Clara was torn. The money would secure her future, but it would mean giving up the farm that had been in her family for generations. Jake could see the conflict in her eyes. You don't have to decide right now, he said gently. Take your time. Think about what this place means to you. Clara nodded, but the weight of the decision hung over her. Over the next few days, Jake noticed her spending more time alone, walking through the fields and sitting by the old oak tree where her grandparents had once picnicked. He knew she was struggling, but he also knew this was a decision she had to make on her own. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Clara finally spoke. I've made up my mind, she said, her voice steady. I'm not selling. This farm is my home. It's where I belong. And now, it's where you and Lily belong too. Jake felt a surge of relief and pride. He knew how difficult that decision must have been for her. We'll make it work, he said firmly. Together. And they did. Over time, the farm became more than just a place to live, it became a symbol of their resilience and love. Jake and Clara grew closer, their bond deepening with each passing day. Lily thrived, her laughter echoing through the fields as she played with the animals and helped with the chores. The story of Jake, Clara, and Lily is a testament to the power of kindness, perseverance, and the importance of finding where you belong. It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, there is always hope. Sometimes, the greatest blessings come from the most unexpected places, and the people who enter our lives can change everything. As the sun set over the farm one evening, Jake stood with Clara and Lily, looking out over the land that had become their home. He realized that life wasn't about how much you had, but about the love and connections you built along the way. And in that moment, he knew they had everything they would ever need.